Hello and thank you for watching Scumbag Customs. I received a request on how to paint gemstones. So in this video I'm going to use this classic Dwarven Thunderer Champion to show you my technique for painting gemstones. For this basic technique I'm going to start out with a black undercoat. And I will be using the following colors: black green from Vallejo model color range, sick green from the game color range. I have Citadel mood green. Now I'll be using the air version because that's what I have, but I think you can perfectly use the normal one, which might even be better. Model color flat yellow. Going to use the Citadel shade, Biltan green, and finally Tamiya color. It's a clear coat, a shiny version, X22. I am going to start off with some Vallejo model color, black green, and I will use some Lamian medium on my wet palette to make it a little easier to apply. As you can see, I've already been using my wet palette, but I'm going to start over for this tutorial. So I'll just put a little bit of black green on there. As it is quite thin, I don't need to add that much of the medium, but I like to add just a tiny bit anyway. I use a different brush to mix the paint than I do for applying the paints because the gemstone is pretty small. Now that I have prepared my paint, I'm ready to apply the first layer. Very carefully try to apply all over without going too far. If you do happen to paint over the brass or golden rim, you can always repaint that later on. So that is my first color. Now I'm going to lighten up my green by using some sick green, also from Vallejo game color. Put a little drop next to my dark green, or the black green that is, and just use my brush to mix it in, make the dark green a little lighter. Once you're happy with your color, just start applying again and just leaving out a tiny little border. Okay, so I'm not going all the way over right now. And I'm just gonna repeat these steps, making the green lighter every time I go. And every time I use a lighter color, I'm just going to try and paint less and less of the gemstone. I'm going to focus on the left bottom corner where I'm going to have the lightest color. Then I can just move over to pure sick green. If your paint is too thick, don't forget to add some Lamian medium. And when you're at the pure sick green, you can move over to mood green. Okay, I'm not going to mood green directly, just as I used the sick green on the black green. I'm just going to build up slowly towards it, making the shape that I paint on the gem smaller and smaller every time. Add some more mood green to the mix. And in the end, what I want to end up with is with just like a little half circle to make the highlight. But I want it to pop out as much as possible, so make sure you go to a very light green. You might even want to end up with pure mood green and just add a little bit of yellow to go even lighter. So now I'm trying to make that half circle in there. And I'm going to add a little bit of Model Colors flat yellow to the mix. See if that brightens it up just a little bit more. And maybe even add some more yellow. For a final highlight. And when you are happy with how the colors turned out, it is time to apply a wash. I'm going to use a Beal-Tan green shade. It's my wash. If you're not happy with how your colors turned out, this is also a great way to kind of start over. Just apply a little extra washes. You can kind of darken the whole thing up and start again. Now, it's important to focus the washes on the sides of the gem. You don't want to cover up too much of the color, so let's start on the sides. And then just go a tiny little bit over it. As you can see, that kind of blurs out the lines between the layers and kind of makes it a nice hole. So let's just wait till that dries up and see how it came out. Now that the wash has completely dried out, I can have a good look and I can see that it went a little bit over the bronze here. So I'm going to patch that up. I've used Weapon Bronze from the Army Painter's War Paint for this. I still have a little bit on my wet palette, so I'm just going to use that and patch up my miniature. And once that's tidied up, I'm going to use some Citadel Shade Agrax Earth Shade to kind of darken it up and make it fit better with the rest of the armor. Not going to thin this, I'm just going to use it straight out of the pot. And let that dry. To make your gemstone really pop out, you can use some clear coat. I'm going to use this Tamiya color acrylic paint, clear X22. This is a shiny coat. Okay, if you want your gemstone to be shiny, make sure you use a shiny clear coat, and make sure you use this after you used your matte coat for the rest of your miniature. Because if you apply that after you applied the shiny coat, it will just dull out what you just did and you'll have to apply it again. Just gonna put a little bit on my brush. I don't want to use my very good brush for this. And just apply it gently onto the stone itself, making sure you don't hit anything you don't want to be shiny. And there you have it, my basic technique for painting gemstones. Now you can take it a little step further by adding some white reflection dots in the top, but as this is just a basic technique and I'm quite happy with the result, I'm going to leave it like it is. Thank you for watching my video. I hope it helped out. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. If you like to support my channel, please subscribe and leave a like.